Ken Keller says he'll fight to remain as president of the University of Minnesota. Hockey pucks translate into big bucks for the city of St. Paul. Also, the final step in the Campaign 88 journey for Gary Hart.
I'm Kevin Burns in St. Paul, where tonight there's a party being thrown for all the kids attending the state high school hockey tournament. What's significant about it is what's not here. I'll have a live report. These stories and much more are just ahead on the Friday edition of Primetime News.
From the Twin Cities, this is the Upper Midwest first look at tonight's news. This is Primetime News.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Heather Harden.
And I'm Rod Grams. Thanks for joining us tonight. Our top story, the U.S. Weather Service has called for a winter storm watch for tonight.
A blizzard that's been making its way through the Great Plains all day could be at our doorstep. And thank goodness, here to join us with a look at what's about to happen out here is meteorologist Joe Dandrea.
And we've, of course, been keeping a nervous eye on the storm for the last couple of days, finally edging its way closer toward Minnesota. 1 to 3 feet of snow has fallen in southwestern South Dakota, some of the higher elevations out there. Very low visibilities also across North and South Dakota right now, and along with that, northwestern Minnesota has been put under a blizzard warning. I want to show you where all the watches and warnings are in effect for tonight. According to the National Weather Service, there is a blizzard warning out for just about all of South Dakota and most of North Dakota, as well as northwestern Minnesota. That includes the cities of Fergus Falls, Alexandria, and Detroit Lakes, and of course the Red River Valley. Absolutely no travel advised in those areas. A winter storm warning has been posted for the rest of central Minnesota, just to the north of the Twin Cities, where heavy snow is beginning to break out already, and they do expect anywhere from 5 to 10 inches. And a winter storm watch then is in effect. In other words, we're still not quite certain what the impact of that storm will be on southern Minnesota and central Wisconsin for tomorrow. I want to show you where we think the heaviest snow is going to be falling, and it's generally in that blizzard and winter storm warning area. 5 to 10 inches of snow will be possible by Sunday morning across central and north central Minnesota. And right now we're just going to take a wild guess at about 2 to 4 inches here in the southern part of the state. But to Heather and Rod, looks like it's going to be white all over Minnesota by tomorrow afternoon. Lots of strong winds. They've been gusting up to near hurricane force in North Dakota. So it's going to be rough traveling.
Okay, so winter has returned.
That's right. We'll have, of course, an update coming up later in the newscast.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
University of Minnesota Regent David Rowe tonight said it is not a question of if President Ken Keller should resign. It is a question of when.
Earlier today, Keller told the regents that he knows that they and the legislature have lost confidence in him, but he didn't offer to resign. Keller faced the regents to make his own assessment about how money could be better handled at the U in light of the $1.5 million expansion at his East Cliff residence.
There's been a lot of talk and a lot of question about whether or not I should resign, and clearly that's something that ought to be considered seriously. It's not something that I think ought to be considered in the immediacy of the moment, because I think that is unfair to this whole institution.
Keller suggested a separate commission be in charge of future renovation project at East Cliff, and that the internal auditor now report directly to the Board of Regents instead of to his administration. On the last point, the regents all agreed, but not all were satisfied that justice has been done.
We know the problems exist, and the head should roll, and I think the head should roll, if that's the phrase you want to use. I think something ought to be punitively stated, whether it be just a outright saying that this is what we do not condone and this is what we should do about it. The next time it's going to happen again in another area, in the same general division of this university.
Another audit is underway into the physical plant of the university. Once that audit is complete, more resignations are expected. There have been widespread allegations of mismanagement and abuse in that department.
State lawmakers say Keller's recommendations today are a step in the right direction, but there are still more questions than answers. The Appropriations Committee of the Education Finance Division held a special hearing today on the legislative audit of East Cliff. Last night, some lawmakers were calling for Keller's resignation, but today emotions were more subdued as they questioned Legislative Auditor Jim Nobles about cost overruns at East Cliff.
If the university were a corporation and I were a stockholder, I would be suing the board of directors for malfeasance. That's the perspective and the role I see now. And East Cliff, I'm suggesting, is merely an indication, not the issue.
The big issue now, say lawmakers, is how to restore public confidence in the university and how to prevent another scandal like East Cliff.
In other news tonight, police are investigating the stabbing death of a Minneapolis man. Shortly after noon, police were called to a duplex near 24th Street and 16th Avenue South. The body of 25-year-old Harold George Mountain was found at the top of the stairs. Police say he had been stabbed. A woman living in the apartment was arrested and taken in for questioning. She was later released.
A former teacher at the Fulton Elementary School in South Minneapolis has made his first court appearance today on 2 counts of criminal sexual conduct. 49-year-old Dean Tracy was arrested and charged yesterday for allegedly molesting 2 fifth-grade boys. He was released after posting a $5,000 bond. His next court appearance has been scheduled for next month. Voters in the St. Cloud School District will be voting on a $33 million referendum later this month. The school district is asking for the money to build 2 new elementary schools, a new middle school, and to renovate 4 others to handle an exploding school population. Farther north, however, it's a different story. The St. Louis County School District is planning some major cuts for next year. The district will close 3 elementary schools and cut about $85,000 worth of programs because of declining enrollment. School athletics are giving the St. Paul economy a big boost.
It's not St. Patrick's Day yet, but merchants are already seeing green and lots of it. Susan Austin has the report.
The state hockey tournament is generating lots of excitement, not to mention lots of dollars for St. Paul businesses. More than 100,000 people are expected to attend the 3-day event at the Civic Center. The St. Paul Convention Bureau says students normally spend about $30 a day. Adults spend twice as much. The total adds up to about $3.5 million.
In addition to that, there's the TV rights, there's the amount of money that the league spends, another ripple effect as well. So all in all, the economic impact could be as much as $5.5 million.
It's a different clientele for the St. Paul Hotel, but with a full house, no one's complaining.
For the room standpoint, we're doing 100% occupancy for the program here. It definitely affects our outlets, our restaurants, and our bar doing very well. So for us, we're very pleased.
This year, 4 out of the 8 teams are from outstate. St. Paul retailers are more than happy to cash in on those out-of-town dollars. Restaurants say business is brisk, and parking lots are turning people away.
Want to find us a parking spot?
This year, there are even hockey hankies, and business is picking up.
When the teams win, then the people will come out and buy.
As far as St. Paul merchants are concerned, everybody wins at the state hockey tournament. Susan Austin, Channel 9 News.
Students attending the tournament may have enough to keep them busy during the day, but the nighttime is another matter.
Once the hockey games are over, hundreds of young people are turned loose on the streets of St. Paul looking for ways, of course, to have a good time and stay out of trouble, we hope. Tonight, our Kevin Burns has found out that many kids are looking for something. He joins us now live. Kevin.
Well, Rod and Heather, this is the Breakaway Free Party. It's being held at the Roy Wilkins Auditorium just across the street from the St. Paul Civic Center. This annual event is designed to let young people have a good time during the hockey tournament without the use of drugs or alcohol. It's sponsored by the Attorney General's office, and it allows everything. There's free admission, food, music, games, and prizes, and it's really an opportunity that many kids say is missing.
True, hockey is the main attraction this week, but for high schoolers from out of town, it's also a chance to
come down to party and to get away from your parents. To be able to do things you wouldn't be able to do if you're at home.
Loosely translated, that means
drink.
For downtown hotels, it means extra work and extra security.
Well, I suppose you're babysitters to a great extent, but a lot of the kids that come in here are just here to have a good time, and they don't cause trouble, but you always have kids that are here to have too good a time.
Hotel rooms are transformed into party central. Even chaperones admit they can't be all places at once.
The team, of course, is well chaperoned by the coaches. They're scheduled throughout the whole day, and they have very little other free time.
Still, there does seem to be a trend toward avoiding peers who drink too much.
Oh, some of them puke. And they just make fools of themselves, and half the time they don't even remember what they did, and then it just really doesn't make sense.
Still, there does seem to be a trend toward avoiding peers who drink too much.
I'm not going to listen to them. I can say no.
Is there a lot of pressure to drink?
To me there is, but mostly I say no during hockey season and stuff.
And even going to the party without drinking still is fun. Yeah. It's kind of funny to watch other people make fools out of themselves.
There's really a difference, I guess, between making a fool of yourself and having a good time and making a fool of yourself. I'll tell you, there are about 1,500 kids who attended this last year, and as many here tonight, if not more. Let's just randomly, you're here tonight. Let me ask you, how much pressure is there in your school to drink at a party?
There's a lot of pressure because they think like the in-group has to drink. And like a lot of people that are like really popular, they have to drink to get to that position and stuff.
What do you do not to feel that pressure?
I just go what I believe in, what I think's right. I don't let people push me around, and I don't really have team pressure. And my friends respect me for not drinking.
All right, thank you very much. Just a random sampling. I can't tell you if that's representative of what's going on in high schools around Minnesota. But what I can tell you, no drugs, no alcohol here, and everybody seems to be having a good time. Rod and Heather, a good place to be if you're a young person on a Friday night. Back to you.
All right, Kevin, thank you very much.
Does he fit in there then?
I think he fits right in with that.
Yeah, I think he does too.
Hope he has a nice time. Still to come tonight, the once top Democratic presidential candidate has pulled out of the 88 race.
Meanwhile, Robert Dole's campaign readies itself for an all-out fight in Illinois.
And should a routine operation performed on infant boys continue to be done without a painkiller? We'll have that story when primetime news continues.
We're having pie for dinner. Nobody has pie for dinner. Gonna, Mom told me. What are we having for dessert? Peas.
Peas are in the pie. Tuna, too. It's a surprising new way to turn tuna into a delicious meal.
New Tuna Helper Tuna Pot Pie. Vegetables in a creamy sauce with an easy pourable crust that bakes up tender and flaky.
If it's pot pie, how come it's not in the pot?
Tuna Helper's gonna change your tuna about tuna.
With new Tuna Helper Tuna Pot Pie. The dinner pie.
This typewriter and I have been through a lot of deadlines together. Kind of shows, too. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's kind of like my Yellow Pages, U.S. West Direct. I've got some other directories around here, but none of them have as much information as this book right here. You can tell by my doodling. It's the one that I use. I couldn't write a better book myself.
U.S. West Direct, the one that gets used.
Another 30 seconds of common sense.
Shop around, and you'll find that the average price of a used car today is almost $6,000. Lots of money for a car you know nothing about from someone you'll probably never see again.
Especially when you can buy this brand new Hyundai Excel for just $56.50, or this four-door for just $62.50.
Ever think you'd see the day when a new car would become a sensible alternative to a used car? Think about it.
Test drive the durable Hyundai Excel at Midway Hyundai and Brooklyn Park Hyundai.
Saturday.
Are you okay? Beautiful.
When a scientist decides to go back in time.
Don't you put any more of that stuff into him till you know a heck of a lot more about it.
How far is too far?
This guy is a gorilla.
William Hurt.
You know, of course, I'm supposed to be at least a little bit nuts.
Blair Brown.
Even sex is a mystical experience for you.
Altered States. Saturday night at 10:30 on Receptive Channel 9.
Gary Hart has put a stop on his on-again, off-again campaign.
Today he said he put his case before the people, got a fair hearing, and will accept their verdict that he is not meant to be president. His renewed campaign was drawing little support, but he says his candidacy has made an impact.
I don't think I lost. I think, I hope and believe that my presence in the debates and perhaps continuing presence on the scene will keep a certain positive pressure on the candidates and on our party to avoid, as I said in my statement, the vagueness and the platitudes that so often accompany politics and turn so many people off.
Hart initially found himself at the top of the polls when he re-entered that race in December, but it was short-lived, and Gary Hart never recovered from the Donna Rice scandal that first put his White House bid on the skids.
And Republican candidate Bob Dole has refuted all rumors that he might quit the race. He says he may be faced with a major setback after his dismal Super Tuesday showing, but he is fighting hard in Illinois. Today, Dole received a telegram from his Minnesota campaign chair, Cal Ludeman. Ludeman says a GOP ticket headed by Dole would run stronger in Minnesota than one headed by frontrunner Vice President George Bush. While Bush may not have great support here, in Illinois, the site of the next primary, he's showing a good deal of support. A new Washington Post ABC poll indicates Bush is walking away with about 58% of the Illinois Republican support. The figure is similar to the margin that swamped Dole on Super Tuesday.
The Jesse Jackson campaign received a shot in the arm today. Jackson won the presidential caucuses in Alaska, but it was close. Michael Dukakis came in second. Jackson is in South Carolina trying to win tomorrow's caucuses in his home state, and he's expected to take it, just as he did in 1984.
One of the main people involved in the Iran-Contra affair has pleaded guilty today and will go to jail. National Security Advisor Robert McFarland says he lied to Congress in a series of letters he wrote in 1985. In the letters, he denied he and his staff were supplying military aid to the Contras when a law banning aid was in effect.
I've told all that I know, and it's on the public record for everyone to see. And I intend to remain available to repeat it for as long as it's necessary to bring this matter to a conclusion.
McFarland entered a guilty plea to 4 misdemeanor perjury counts. Each carry a minimum sentence of 1 month.
Well, President Reagan has made it clear that he wants military leader Manuel Noriega out of Panama. The president today imposed stiffer economic sanctions against Panama, holding back millions of badly needed dollars. The U.S. will put money it owes Panama for use of the Panama Canal into escrow. And the administration is assuring the Panamanian people the action is directed at Noriega, not them. The Reagan administration has already frozen Panamanian funds in U.S. banks, but says the sanctions will be removed once ousted President Eric Duvalier has been returned to power.
I'm Jerry Bell. Take advantage of the great things your home state has to offer. Support Minnesota companies and the products they make. Buy Minnesota.
When you compare the Lincoln Town Car to the Cadillac Brougham, you'll find that the Town Car costs more. But down the road, Lincoln's resale value is less. That can't be right. The Lincoln costs more when you buy it, but you get back less when you sell it? Why would anybody choose a Town Car over the Cadillac Brougham? It just doesn't add up.
Especially now, when qualified Cadillac and Lincoln owners can save up to $2,000 on a new Cadillac. See your Twin Cities Cadillac dealer today.
Hold it, ho, ho, ho. So you're gonna finally meet Cindy, huh? Tonight. Good. So first impressions are very important. I think. Okay. Now imagine, lights are low, the music's soft. Knock the door opens up, somebody's out there doing this. What is this? She's got dandruff? No, you have dandruff. No, yes you do. I shampoo every day. You can shampoo your brains out with regular shampoo, wouldn't matter. Brains out? Yeah, well, so use that. Head and Shoulders? Works for me, my friend. But you don't have dandruff. Exactamundo!
Head and Shoulders, because you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Through the years, the mothers of America have had a kind of medical training.
Next.
They've learned from countless doctors and pharmacists that the way to take care of a cough is with Robitussin. And now at home, the mothers of America are putting this advice to work.
Next.
Robitussin, recommended by Dr. Mom. Which Robitussin is right for you? Ask your doctor or pharmacist.
Hi, I'm Janet Carvenin. For me personally, the Minnesota-State High School basketball tournament brings back memories. In our 4 years in the playoffs, we won 3 state championships.
Let's see, you were with New York Mills in well, I'm Perry Williams, joined Ted Robinson, Jim Gilleland, Janet, and me for the 1988 Minnesota State High School basketball tournament.
Catch the girls' tournament Thursday, March 17th through the 19th, and the boys Thursday, March 24th through the 26th on Receptive Channel 9.
Tonight, we bring you several important medical stories.
The first is about circumcision and a new study done by several Minnesota doctors. Their work is published in this week's journal, the American Medical Association. The research shows that anesthesia should be used on infants being circumcised. As Maureen Reader reports, circumcision is the only elective operation routinely performed without a painkiller.
The doctors are practicing pediatricians with Group Health in White Bear Lake. Both have performed circumcisions on newborns, and they were concerned that it might be painful. That led them to try the procedure using anesthesia, and to this conclusion.
Circumcisions can be done with less pain than they're being done right now.
The doctors, along with a child psychologist, say the infants who are injected with a local painkiller before circumcision don't cry as much or show other signs of stress during the procedure.
Babies who got nothing cried 3 times more than the babies who got anesthetic. So there was a dramatic response.
That may seem an obvious conclusion, yet few doctors use anesthesia when performing circumcision, believing that the injections may be as painful as the procedure. But these doctors say their study shows the shot by itself didn't increase pain, so a shot with painkiller can only be beneficial. The study brings up another issue. For the last 2 decades, major medical groups and experts have campaigned against circumcision, saying that it is not medically necessary. Yet 70% of parents in the Midwest still opt for the procedure. The question is, will making circumcision less painful result in more parents asking for this elective operation?
There may be a few more people who'd circumcise their babies, but not a great influx of a great increase.
Doctors involved in this study say they don't necessarily endorse or refute a parent's decision to circumcise their son. They just want to get the word out. It doesn't have to hurt as much. Maureen Reeder, Channel 9 News.
Researchers say for the first time they have found a gene they believe causes the most common form of mental retardation. They say the gene causes a genetic mix-up that results in Down syndrome. But they're quick to stress that they are a long way from developing a treatment for the disorder.
Well, to date, many doctors and researchers have believed the theory lung cancer might be triggered by the lack of vitamins. A new study released this week supports the theory, but authors warn just replacing the nutrients isn't an effective way of preventing the disease. Jenny Burleson explains.
The study looked at over 70 smokers who were found to have potentially precancerous cells lining the passages of their lungs. Half of the smokers were given massive doses of both vitamin B12 and folic acid, a nutrient thought to be essential to the process of cell division. That group showed a big improvement. Over a 4-month period, their abnormal lung cells gradually became more normal. Researchers say this strengthens their theory that a deficiency of folic acid makes certain cells more cancer-prone.
And the idea is not that folic acid deficiency in the lung or in any other organ of the body may be carcinogenic in itself, but rather that it may possibly increase the risk or the susceptibility of a cell or of a tissue to the attack of carcinogens.
You can get both folic acid and B12 over the counter in almost any drugstore, but even though they're readily available, researchers warn against using these supplements to try to ward off lung cancer. The best way to prevent lung cancer, they say, is still to quit smoking.
Any reduction in lung cancer risk to be obtained from dietary changes or nutritional changes such as we have studied are far overshadowed by the definite benefit of stopping smoking.
But Heimberger says it would be a good idea to add more foods to your diet that contain folic acid, such as spinach and broccoli. Until there's more evidence, these foods will do you more good than their counterparts in pill form. Jenny Burleson for CNN, Birmingham, Alabama.
Today, Minnesota officials lashed out at the United States Department of Agriculture, accusing the agency of playing politics. The USDA has held off on certifying Minnesota's farm mediation program, claiming that federal agencies are at a disadvantage in trying to collect on bad debts. Agencies like the FMHA must wait 6 months, while banks and other private agencies must wait 3 months. Attorney General Skip Humphrey said the USDA was being petty and dragging its feet in helping the farmers.
And they've used one more excuse just to delay this out to the last nth degree. I think it's terribly unfortunate.
Humphrey said the legislation will make the changes needed for certification. Without it, the state would be ineligible for federal money to help pay for the mediation program. The new 976 pay-per-call numbers have resulted in some large unexpected phone bills for many Minnesotans, so now the Public Utilities Commission says Northwestern Bell must offer customers free blocking of the 976 calls. Last fall, Bell had offered to block such calls, but would charge to do it. The commission, however, says it must be offered and at no cost. Customers can call their local Bell office for more information.
Tonight in business, on the heels of dismal sales and traffic for the important Christmas shopping season, River Place management said today they have signed 3 new tenants that may change the focus of the project. The Comedy Gallery nightclub, produced by the well-known local comedian Scott Hansen, will move permanently into River Place as it begins its 7th year of operations. The second new tenant will be Taps, a microbrewery and restaurant. Beer will be brewed on the premises. The third is Regalia, a special events facility that will accommodate small or large parties. River Place management said these tenants were chosen for their entertainment value.
We found out that people wanted to have fun here. So that's what we brought them. We're bringing them more fun. We're trying to moderate the price points of our retail apparel, of our gifts, of our galleries, etc.
In other business news tonight, the Commerce Department says retail sales rose 0.6% in February. Analysts say the favorable report makes it clear the October stock market crash has had little effect on consumer spending. Inflation at the wholesale level fell 0.2% last month. The Labor Department says the drop was driven by lower prices for food and energy. The Triangle Corporation says it will show a profit this year partly because it has moved equipment to South Carolina from its West Duluth plant. The city had been angered by the move and filed suit against Triangle, claiming it had taken advantage of city incentives when it bought the Diamond Tool Company. A court order prevented Triangle from moving all of the equipment out of Duluth. In stocks of national interest, some of the gainers were Shell Transport, Royal Dutch Petroleum, and Atlantic Richfield. Some of the losers were the Student Loan Marketing Association, Macmillan, and JWP. In stocks of local interest, some of the gainers were Union Pacific, 3M, and Winnebago. Some of the losers were Fuller, CVN, and Tonka. The Dow Jones closed up today nearly 9 points, stopping at 2035 on heavy trading today of 200 million shares. And still to come tonight, fire officials have determined the cause of a blaze that engulfed a city block in Baltimore.
And March came in like a lamb, but the lion is now rearing its ugly head. Joe Dandrea is next with all the wintry details.
Perk up your place and save with wallpaper at half price right now at Menards. That's right, all Berkeley and Sunworthy wallpaper in stock is on sale now at 50% off. And that's 50% off our own everyday low price. Choose from 200 patterns in stock, pre-pasted for easy hanging, on sale now at half price. That's 50% off wallpaper at your home decor store, Menards.
We're helping you build America's heartland at Menards.
At LensCrafters, skilled laboratory technicians using the latest equipment mean we can custom grind your exact prescription in about 1 hour. Listen.
They put new lenses in my old frames in about 55 minutes.
They were able to make a tool that's required to make my glasses.
I got my glasses in 47 minutes.
Very professional people.
LensCrafters, quality eyeglasses in about an hour. Burnsville Center, Southdale Center, Lomans Plaza, and now in Crystal Shopping Center, next to Target.
My new shirt. Mom's gonna kill me. No problem. That's what washing machines are for, right? Right.
Another unreported stain. You know, the kind your family doesn't tell you about till it's through the dryer and set for life. That's why you should add Biz Bleach to every wash load to find many unreported stains and lift them up and away. Even though unreported stains have a way of slipping into your wash, they can't get by Biz.
Come drive a Mazda.
The Mazda Deal-a-thon is on. Your Mazda dealer is making great deals on the greatest lineup of Mazdas ever, like the $59.99 Mazda 323, 626, MX-6 GT, and factory-to-dealer incentives can save you hundreds on Mazda trucks. The Mazda Deal-a-thon. Come on.
Come drive a Mazda.
See your Mazda dealer in Richfield, Brooklyn Center, White Bear, St. Paul, and Minnetonka.
Baltimore police are saying it was arson that caused a massive warehouse fire last night.
The blaze is reported to have started about 7 p.m. It quickly spread to 2 smaller warehouses and then grew to the size of a city block, threatening a nearby lumber yard. Well, efforts to douse the flames were inhibited by a lack of water, but firemen did manage to get it under control with only 2 minor injuries occurring.
Well, I understand today is the 100th anniversary of the great blizzard of 1888 that killed a lot of people on the eastern part of the country, but we're not going to get anything like that this weekend.
50 to 60 inches of snow in some areas. That's how much fell on the level. The drifts were, I don't know how high, 25 feet or 50 feet or something. Absolutely, no, it doesn't look quite that bad, but it is a dangerous storm we're dealing with tonight, especially because of travel conditions across northwestern Minnesota, which have been deteriorating rapidly. Now, they are beginning to close roads now up in the northwestern part of the state, and the National Weather Service has just updated all of these watches and warnings, and what they're saying now is a full blizzard warning is in effect for all of western Minnesota. That includes the southwestern part of the state as well, so we're extending that to the south. And they are also including the Twin Cities in a winter storm warning for tonight and during the day tomorrow, where we could see some very heavy snow as well. But right now, it looks like the heavier snow is developing.
The conflict in Northern Ireland is not as noticeable now. There are other battles going on, but the tension is still there in the streets and in the tenements. This week, that conflict is brought to life in two Twin Cities stage productions. Fritzie Borgwardt reports.
There is some humor in this play, but its content is serious. It's about three women who live in Belfast.
Oh, Sally, what a day. My Dustin under siege, my Peppy on the run, and now Rosemary Noble arrested.
And it's only 11:30. It is said to be the worst housing complex in Western Europe. That's housing conditions. So not only do they have to live with that, they also have an army present, a British army presence continually.
And because the actresses are from Belfast themselves, they know their subject.
Wonder what he's like out of that uniform. Sexy. Jesus, silly cow, she's a Brit. I get done. I'm only looking, that's all. Just looking.
Somewhere Over the Balcony runs through this Sunday at the Great North American History Theater in St. Paul.
So really, basically, that's what it's about. It's about survival of the human spirit.
But we never did hear. I'm looking on the bright side, door walking.
And it is the human spirit that's evident in the children's theater production of The Troubles, Children of Belfast. This play opened tonight.
Mama's car's been bombed. They're coming to take us to the hospital.
Young rebels, enlist while I sing. For the love of one's country, a terrible thing.
A lot of the kids are involved in it as much as the adults, and so they're like a big influence on the Troubles over there.
The performers are Americans, but they are not naive about the problems of the people they are playing.
There isn't really two sides to the issue, Protestant or Catholic. It's like all of them fighting against Britain.
There is a phrase that comes from Northern Ireland. It's, if you say you understand the Troubles, then you've been very badly misinformed.
The children's theater production runs through April 10th. Fritzie Borgwardt, Channel 9 News, the Twin Cities.
Are you into feeling good? Then treat yourself to an overnight vacation tonight and every night on a waterbed from Sun Valley. You'll fall asleep faster, toss and turn less, and wake up refreshed, ready for action. Right now, the big savings on this two-tiered bookcase bed, just $199. The Accolade is only $279. Plus, register to win one of 9 dream vacations for 2 in Hawaii. Only at Sun Valley Waterbed.
Hey, give me a seafood salad with sprouts and put it on a croissant.
Not from around here, are you?
No. Why?
You only have brownberry bread in this town.
Brownberry?
Folks come from all over the county for it. No other wheat bread tastes so moist, so rich, so delicious.
Fine. I'll have the brownberry.
Sorry. We're all out.
When it's brownberry, it's never ordinary.
If I were the big cheese at CarX, I'd come up with an offer so big, customers would flock to CarX in droves. You could not physically resist this offer. So you know what I'd do? I don't know what I'd do.
It's hard to resist the grand opening offer at CarX. Get a lifetime guaranteed muffler for as low as $13. And to win season tickets, enter our Win the Twins sweepstakes.
Great offer. Glad I thought of it.
This week on Siskel and Ebert, have you ever looked at a widescreen movie on your narrow TV set and wondered what you're missing off of each side? We'll show you this week.
Yogi!
It's perfect strike. The ump was right.
There is a solution to that problem, and we'll show you some other ways to improve home video.
It's pretty obvious you don't want me around anymore.
That's this week on a special edition of Siskel and Ebert.
Saturday night at 9:30 on Channel 9.
Doctors in London say pop singer Andy Gibb died of heart inflammation. The 30-year-old Gibb died yesterday after entering the hospital complaining of stomach pains. Gibb's older brothers, members of the group the Bee Gees, denied their brother's death was in any way drug-related. Students at Gilleland University, the nation's only liberal arts college for the deaf, are celebrating a hard-fought victory tonight.
The school's newly appointed hearing president has resigned, paving the way for the selection of the school's first deaf president in its 125-year history. As Jeff Stry reports, "We want a deaf president now" has become the school's rallying cry.
It was up and out today for Elizabeth Ann Zinser, Gallaudet University's 4-day president who never set foot on the campus during her brief stormy tenure. Dr. Zinser said she was convinced to resign not by angry students, but by a deaf civil rights uprising.
Something began to swell up just last week, and that was a movement that started on the Gallaudet University campus and spread all across the nation.
The hearing chairperson of Gallaudet's Board of Trustees that selected Dr. Zinser, and who now finds herself under increasing pressure to resign, said the week-long protests caught her off guard.
The intensity of this demonstration and these demands were very surprising to many of us.
On campus today, jubilation. Students and friends of Gallaudet University held a victory rally of sorts, vowing to continue their fight for a deaf president and the ouster of Trustee Spillman, all the while realizing that the whole world is watching.
I come from Canada, and I heard from my brother there in Canada that there is a lot of support in Canada for us, and also other countries that are helping us. And we were puzzled that what was blocking our movement, now we see what we need. And that's only to take down the walls.
The executive director of the National Association for the Deaf says what has happened at Gallaudet this week will have a ripple effect across the country.
And deaf people no longer will stand to be oppressed, no longer will stand to be, quote, second-class citizens.
Realizing that they won't be able to reach the hearing world all on their own, the new deaf lobby followed in the footsteps of many special interests before them, to Capitol Hill. In her departing statement today, former Gallaudet President Zinser bid goodbye to the Gallaudet students by saying, quote, "We celebrate with them and wish them their day in the sun." The deaf community hopes it lasts a lot longer than that. Jeff Stry, Washington.
All missing children are considered to be in possible danger, whether they be runaways, abducted by a stranger, or a parent. If you have any information on a missing child, call the network hotline. Now with tonight's report.
The Society for Young Victims reports the location and recovery of Danny Greco Jr. Danny had been missing from Laurel, Maryland since July of 1987. He was located in Harris County, Texas, living with his non-custodial mother. Missing from Mononan, Iowa since November 11th of last year is Jackie Cole. This 14-year-old is believed to be in the company of a 36-year-old white male. He was a friend of Jackie's family, and he has suspiciously been missing since Jackie's disappearance. Jackie has blonde hair, blue eyes, and a slight scar on the front of her neck. She also has scoliosis and a heart click. She is 5 feet 6 inches tall and weighs 130 pounds. Mitchell Owens was abducted from his home in Menlo Park, California on February 3rd, 1983. A stranger broke into his home, strangled Mitchell's mother with a telephone cord, and then fled with the boy. Now 9 years old, Mitchell has black hair, brown eyes, and a scar on his nose, and a surgical scar on his left rib. Eugene Martin was abducted by a stranger en route to pick up his newspapers in Des Moines, Iowa on August 12, 1984. Now 17 years old, Eugene has straight brown hair and brown eyes. If you have seen Jackie, Mitchell, or Eugene, call the network hotline at 1-800-235-3535. Pictures of these and other missing children can be found at your local country club food markets.
Still ahead in sports, a complete look at the hockey tourney. Jim Gilleland will have scores and highlights.
And also the future of baseball just may include female umpires. Channel 9 Sports is coming up next.
Weeknights at 10, make a love connection.
Any particular type of woman that you're looking for? Do you just like all women or what?
Now, if they're a little too frail for me, I might hurt them, so.
Okay, all right.
And at 10:35, look in on the Jeffersons.
10 years ago, I was this little guy with one store, right? Now look at me. A little guy with 7 stores.
Weeknights are a scream with Love Connection at 10 and the Jeffersons at 10:35 on Receptive Channel 9.
International exchange rates have certainly affected the prices of foreign luxury cars. First, the Germans raised their prices. Then the Japanese. Then the Germans again. Higher. Higher. And higher. Now that the dust is settled, one American luxury car stands alone. Cadillac, emerging as the best luxury car value on earth.
Well, the high school hockey tournament began yesterday. 8 teams in the hunt. Now tonight, down to 3 at this hour.
Yeah, and I think kind of a surprise today, although Hill Murray has a long winning streak going. I think it was generally conceded that Jefferson had the best club going into that 8-team field. They're out of it now. Edina is playing Warroad as of right now for the right to play Hill Murray in the championship game tomorrow. The Pioneers upset Bloomington Jefferson in the first semifinal this afternoon. Final score 6-3, and Hill Murray controlled things throughout. It was tied 1-1 heading into the second period, and then Hill Murray made their move. From behind the net, a centering pass from Mark Collins, and the puck is in the net as Mike Hansen puts it in, 2-1. Before the period was over, Jim Scott had scored to make it 4-1 for Hill Murray, and they really had the better of the play from then on out. Todd Monpettit here scores early third to make it 5-2. Jefferson did put on a lot of pressure at this point and got down to a 2-goal game. Tom Peterson, the fine defenseman who is headed for the University of Minnesota, scored with 5 minutes to play to cut the margin to 5-3. Jefferson putting pressure on, but as so often happens, they got caught pressing, and Monpettit broke out on the breakaway and scored. He had 2 goals and an assist, and Hill Murray is going to go on and play. That other game has just started. Edina and Warroad just underway, and the winner advances to that evening game tomorrow night. Consolation play this afternoon. Grand Rapids defeated Rochester John Marshall 5-2, and earlier tonight Duluth Denfeld scored the first 3 goals of the game and then held off Cretin Durham Hall. So it will be those 2 winners meeting in the consolation finals tomorrow at noon. From the ice to the water, Rochester John Marshall didn't win a hockey game in the tournament, but they're hoping swimming is another story. Mohawks to the rescue, perhaps. This is action from the medley relay heat won by Blaine, the team medley relay. One state record did fall this afternoon. Jeff Ganley of Park Center in the 200-yard IM, a time of 1:53.84. He'll have a chance to break his mark in the finals tomorrow. It was almost entirely preliminaries today. Edina, Minnetonka, and Rochester Mayo are the team favorites. The Strikers are trying to stop the leak in their attack lately. They are hoping a return to the Met Center does the trick. Kansas City, the visitor. The Strikers held a slim 2-game lead in their division coming in tonight. Oops! Tino Lettieri plays the bounce badly. Tasso Katsukas, the ex-Striker, gets credit for the goal. It was 1-0 Kansas City early. Strikers then tied it. A nice feed from David Byrne to Hector Marinero, and the roommates connect, tie the score at 1. Strikers up 4-2 now. Kansas City to the attack, and they'll have another ex-Striker, Barry Wallace, drilling it by Tino into the corner, 4-3. Strikers then strike back. Again, it's Byrne with a fancy pass over to Marinero, who heads it in for his 47th goal of the season. Kansas City rallied to take the lead, but now it's the Strikers back on top. Alan Willey has 2 goals, the 2 by Hector, and Gary Etherington scored to give the Strikers a lead in the 4th period. Less than a minute to play now. Strikers are home again Sunday against Wichita. Tomorrow, the North Stars move back into the Met Center in a rare matinee. Pittsburgh is the visitor. The Stars have lost 7 in a row, and with just 12 games to go, show no signs of letting go of their stranglehold on the worst record in the National Hockey League. College hockey, the Gophers are still awaiting word on where they'll play and whom in the first round of the NC2A hockey tournament. The 12-team field will be announced Sunday, the same day as the 64-team NCAA basketball field. When the announcement does come, Purdue is sure to be one of the top half-dozen seeds. That's bad news for the Gophers because they have to close out the Big Ten at West Lafayette tomorrow, and the Boilers no doubt will want to give the seniors, Todd Mitchell, Troy Lewis, and Everett Stevens, a big send-off. College basketball tonight, tournament conference time, and Syracuse won as expected by 14 points, 15 for Stevie Thompson to lead the way. They win by 14 over Boston College. In another game, Georgetown was upset by Seton Hall. If we could look quickly at the scores now, it was Big East, Syracuse and Seton Hall winning, ACC, Maryland, and Carolina, and Oklahoma and Missouri won in the Big 8. The Twins got dumped 9-1 by Toronto this afternoon. So the stock plummeted of Tippy Martinez because he gave up all of the runs for the Twins. A 9-run 5th inning. Willie Upshaw hit a grand slam. MVP Jesse Barfield also tagged Tippy. Do we have time for the umpire or not? Okay. It's self-explanatory. A female calling the balls and strikes.
The lady in blue, Pam Postema, more than a pair of P's. She's poised, professional, and something no other umpire is, pretty. And she's passionate about this particular profession.
I've always loved baseball. I think you have to love baseball to be in this kind of job. And I know it's self-satisfying because nobody gives you a pat on the back ever. And mostly, you know, you just get booed a lot. But I like going out there every day and trying to be the best and being perfect, you know, and seeing what happens.
Pam's performances have her parents' hats off proud, even if her mother's pals find it peculiar.
And they say, umpire, you know, and I'll say, yeah. And they say, well, I never heard of a girl umpire. And I say, I know, she's the only one.
Over the past 11 years in the minors, or in this spring big league premiere, Pam is also a perfectionist. And whether she accomplishes that or not, she gets her ears pierced by patrons and players.
She's probably had to put up with quite a bit for 12 years in the minor leagues, and for her to go through that long a time and take that much abuse, most likely, I haven't been there, but I would imagine, it says a lot for her, and so far from what I've seen, she's done a pretty good job.
Every umpire has to have a thick skin. I don't think I'm more thick-skinned than any other umpire. You know, they have to take a lot, too, because they hear, you know, when I'm on the field with them, then they'll hear a lot of comments about let the woman do it, you know, and everything. So they have to have a thick skin, too, and it goes both ways.
There are 2 openings in the National League right now, and she's auditioning right now in spring training along with several other people.
Good luck to her. Thanks, Gilly. We'll be back right after this.
Walgreens won't let your pictures come out too blue, or too green, or too red. Walgreens uses the Kodak Color Watch system exclusively so that your pictures come out color perfect. And now with Walgreens Match 2 game, you can win $10,000 in gold and other prizes. Free game card inside every Walgreens photo envelope.
Over 1,300 Walgreens are linked by the Intercom network. In seconds, your prescription records are available to you at any Walgreens in America.
Headache, pressure, and congestion, all together major symptoms of sinus complex. You need to feel better, but not drowsy. You need Sinutab 2 no drowsiness formula, so you feel altogether better and awake.
My wife, every night she disappears into the bathroom. Who knows what's going on? But whatever it is, it makes her feel really good. See?
Clean away stains and freshen dentures with Efferdent every night.
Well, the toy industry is undergoing a transformation from traditional toys like G.I. Joe and Barbie to new video interactive games.
But how safe are these games for our children? As Helen Somerset reports, there is quite a bit of debate raging over how the games are pitting bad guys against good guys.
Power on. Captain Power and the soldiers of the future.
The year 2127, an age of intergalactic space battles against the loathsome Lord Dread and his battalion of beam-beeping biodreads. Thank goodness we have 7-year-old Alan Webster perched and ready for him in front of the television to protect us. The toy is one part of what is being called an interactive game. Interactive because it requires 2 players, the fighter pilot and the TV. The hero Captain Power can arrive on the screen in one of 2 ways. The show broadcast by a local station, or the tape played on the home VCR.
We're losing you. Switch to transmission code 3. This tunnel's out of our charges.
And as soon as the action begins, the sonic soldier starts to fire blast after blast. If he hits one of the lighted targets, his jet beeps.
Yeah, I got that one.
And when he misses...
I feel kind of disappointed.
But the disappointment doesn't last long. How could it with the non-stop action, explosions, warning signs, and space monsters lurking around every crater? Is it too late for mankind's survival? No, with a cocked eye and a pull on the trigger, one more biodread is gone. Fans of Captain Power say there's more to this game than just firing away shots at Lord Dread. They say there's a moral lesson to be learned.
It's the good and evil, and the good's always winning. And so I want him to believe good always will win, as long as he's working at something.
Oh, it's kind of cute, kind of fun.
A local psychologist says theories connecting cartoon and, in this case, interactive video game violence with overly aggressive children are unfounded.
If, in fact, the parents want the kid to have fun and are inclined to buy that kind of faddish, technological kind of stuff, and it fits in with their own values, I don't think there's any support from psychology for the notion that it is somehow harmful. on any kind of long-term predictable basis.
Dr. Fredrickson says fight on, Pilot Allen, but don't have so much fun along the way that you let down your guard. It's all too easy for Lord Dread and his bio-dreads to return and zap even the bravest of warriors. Helen, Somerset, reporting.
Hope he's not shooting at us. Finally tonight, get up off that couch and head downtown with other couch potatoes in Minneapolis. The couch potatoes are gathering for a good cause on the 7th floor of the Omni North Star Hotel. Besides an excuse to eat, it's also a fundraiser for To Make-A-Wish Foundation. The organization makes wishes come true for children diagnosed with terminal illnesses. Many of the couchers are eating and earning money for every hour that they spend on the couch.
I basically have harassed.
So
Nice way to spend your time, relaxing.
This weekend, it might
be
not
a couch potato this weekend.
might not be a bad idea. We have a winter storm warning for the Twin Cities for tomorrow. Heaviest snows, I think, will still be north of the cities, but several inches. Highs 25 to 30 and strong winds.
We'll have to get up the couch and shovel for a while, maybe. Thank you, Joe.
Well, no matter what the weather is, enjoy your weekend. Good night, everyone.
Good night.